play of the game the last 2 weeks. So Bill Parcells, joking around with Testaverde this week, says, hey, we might run the quarterback sneak to open up the offensive line. These 5 starters have been there every game so far this season in the starting lineup. Curtis Martin, big game against the Colts last week, has not rushed for over 17 yards on one play yet this season. On a 1st and 10. Martin across the 25 and then driven back by Lonnie Martz. Modest gain on 1st down for New York. The Tennessee defense ranked 8th in the NFL, and some changes on that defensive line. Henry Ford gets the nod at defensive tackle. Anthony Cook steps in for Pratt Lyons. Josh Evans is out with a knee injury. The linebackers, these are the playmakers, Robinson, Bowden, and Martz. And the secondary, no Blaine Bishop. He's out with a sprained knee. Perry Phoenix gets the nod, the rookie free agent, and a sudden miss. On a 2nd and 6, quick throw to Keyshawn Johnson. And a 1st down for New York. Out of bounds, right around the 35-yard line. 8-yard hookup.
And when we talked to the Jets yesterday, that's exactly what they want to do with Keyshawn Johnson. Split him out wide, get him with one-on-one situations with the defense where they can't double team him, and give him routes that he's comfortable with. On this little stop route, he comes back for the ball. He's so far away from the defensive back, it's an easy pitch and catch for quarterback Vinny Testaverde for the 1st down.
Ball spotted just shy of the 36-yard line. 3-receiver look with Dedrick Ward now on the field. Brady came in motion. On 1st down. The pitch. Martin looking for an opening. And he spills out across the 40-yard line. Gain of 4.5. Terry Phoenix, the strong safety, will be given credit for the stop.
What I really like about this play is Keyshawn Johnson's become the total teammate. He's waving Kyle Brady over to get where he's supposed to be. But look at the blocking on the left side of the line. They seal the outside, allowing Curtis Martin to hit a seam and take the ball down the field of play, getting positive yardage.
Tennessee goes into the dime package on a 2nd and a long 5. Long count for Testaverde. Straight back. Good protection. Testaverde over the middle for Keith Byars. An 11-yard pass play. Testaverde very patient in the pocket and waited for Byars to find an opening.
And that's just a smart play by Keith Byars, an experienced veteran. Vinny Testaverde looks downfield, looks to his right. His first look off not there. His second look off to the left, slides in the pocket. No, it's not there. Steps up and drops it off to the KG veteran Keith Byars. And he's smart enough to stay with the play. Just run across the middle, get open somehow, some way. And one of the best wide receivers, the best running back guys that can catch the football in NFL history, Keith Byars.
Another 1st down for New York into Tennessee territory. Draw play. Martin accelerating ahead across the 40-yard line and down to the 37, an 11-yard gain for Martin. And he talked to us about this yesterday. He's waiting to break that big one. We mentioned it earlier, longest run of the season, 17 yards.
And what happens on this defense, they rush upfield. And watch the left side over there. What's going to happen? It's just a simple draw play. They're going to clear it out. Curtis Martin hits it in the middle of the field, gets great blocking by his line, but the way the Tennessee Oilers attack up the field, it's a simple play to call. Run that draw. They'll be upfield, and no one will touch Curtis Martin until he gets to the linebacker.
New set of downs. Play action. Testaverde on the dump off for Martin. Spinning ahead across the 35-yard line. Gain of a couple on 1st down. So Vinny Testaverde avoiding that interception that plagued him the last 2 weeks against Buffalo and Indianapolis. Testaverde has come out looking sharp here in the early going.
And not only that, when we talked to Vinny and mentioned it to him, he said he kind of blamed it on us, because we put the pressure on him last week, saying, well, you threw a pick last week. And then he comes out of the game last week against Indianapolis, throws another pick. He says he's not going to throw one this week. And I think subconsciously, he knew he wasn't going to throw an interception.
I didn't know you had that much power. Incomplete on cue, Testaverde. First pass he has not completed here today. A lot of pressure in the backfield.
What Jeff Fisher wants to do, the head coach of the Tennessee Oilers, he wants to put pressure on Vinny Testaverde. He wants to come with blitzes. He wants to run stunts. Look at the white jerseys in the backfield. It is a screen, but they're going to run after Vinny Testaverde. They want to knock him on the ground. They want to let him know that he just can't sit in the pocket and pick apart their defense. No one's challenged Vinny Testaverde thus far in the past 7 weeks, but the Tennessee Oilers, it's in their game plan. They're going to blitz him today.
8th play of the drive. third and a long 6. From the Tennessee 34, Testaverde in the pocket, over the middle. Keyshawn Johnson brings it in, and another New York first down, 9 yards on the pass play.
Solid defense right here. The old Buddy Ryan 46, solid dubs. You cover the 3 interior, you get guys on the outside. Look at the rushers in the middle of the field. The protection is magnificent. They've got everyone blocked. That allows Vinny Testaverde to see down the football field. Great route by Keyshawn Johnson coming across the field. The middle of the field's open when those linebackers rush up the field. Vinny Testaverde knows that. He will try to pick this defense apart in the middle of the field.
We've been told that Johnson is a big part of the game plan here today. On the pitch for Martin. Nowhere to run. A loss on first down for New York. Denard Walker, the cornerback, coming over to help on the play.
What a job by Denard Walker. But Eddie Robinson, linebacker they signed this year from Jacksonville, was an old Houston Oiler, came back and played for Tennessee. Keep an eye on number 55. He's just going to fly down the line of scrimmage and fight through 2 blockers, 3 blockers to get in on the play. That's a heads-up play by a great linebacker, Eddie Robinson, for the Tennessee Oilers.
2nd and 11. Robinson, second on the team in tackles behind Joe Bowden, who came in with 92. Long drive to start play here in Tennessee. Draw play. Sidestepping, it's Martin. Curtis Martin brought down at the 20-yard line. Eddie Robinson once again involved.
He's all over the field, Eddie Robinson. He's going to find Curtis Martin. Here he's going to fly down the line of scrimmage and just follow wherever Curtis Martin goes. Then he goes back the opposite way towards the goalpost to chase Curtis Martin down. That's nothing but all-out hustle, trying to find the ball carrier and making a tackle.
Leon Johnson is checked into the game, and a good sign for New York that he's even active today. He was coming off of that knee injury. He sets up out wide as a receiver. On a 3rd and 7, Testaverde. A little cross, and it's incomplete. Dedrick Ward, the intended receiver. Lonnie Martz, the linebacker, had the coverage. So it brings up 4th down for New York. They'll try to put some points on the board via the field goal.
Jets are in the empty backfield, no running back in the backfield. When the Oilers see this, they're going to attack Vinny Testaverde because that means they have to match up one-on-one. But Lonnie Martz is right there in his zone. He's waiting for the receiver to come across the field. Didn't even have to move, made the defensive stop.
39-yard attempt for John Hall. John Kidd, the punter, is the holder. Hudson, the snapper. Hall's kick. No good. Wide to the left. And the Jets come up empty. A long drive to start play, and the Jets have nothing to show for it. No score in the first.
That was an easy one to make. Before the game, I was on the field. He was attempting those kicks, and he was missing a few of them. Bill Parcells was watching him, but El Del Greco, the Tennessee kicker, he was hitting those things like chip shots out of a bunker. He made about 8 of them in a row from 45 yards in.
The Jets come out with 4 linebackers to start play, similar to what we saw against Buffalo in trying to defend Flutie. On the pitch, Eddie George, and it bounced right back into his arms. The Oilers avoiding disaster. Steve McNair leads this Tennessee offense, and McNair having his best season as a pro. Some good numbers, and over the last 5 to 6 games, McNair has really been on a tear. And his teammates have commented on his confidence in the huddles and the fact that he is coming across as a leader. A loss of 2. McNair will put it in the air, and a drop. Uncharacteristic, Jackie Harris, the tight end. Let's take a look at the Tennessee offense. Up front, no Brad Hopkins, a groin injury, so Scott Sanderson at left tackle makes his 2nd consecutive start, and it helps when you have perennial Pro Bowler Bruce Matthews next to you. Eddie George did not hit the 100-yard mark last week. That snapped a streak of 5 straight games over 100 at running back for Tennessee. Oilers go with a 3-receiver look. Remember, no Yancey Thigpen. Still nursing the injury. Draw play for George. He's a big back. Crossing the 35-yard line, shy of a first down. And the Oilers will be forced to punt with Craig Hentrick, one of the best in the business. Craig Hendrick has 6 consecutive punts of 50 or more yards. You want to talk about hot.
Thing is, a lot of times he outpunts his coverage because he can boom them so high and so long. Sometimes that creates a problem, but for me, I need a guy that's got to punt at 50 yards. I want that extra field position.
Leon Johnson awaits, and a booming kick from Hendrick. What a leg. Into the end zone, and a touchback. 64-yard punt from Hendrick. Jets will have the football when we return after this. In the AFC, entering action today, 8 of the 15 teams in the conference came in with winning records, including these two. The Jets and Oilers, both 6-4. New York, second possession of the day. They came up empty in their first possession with Hall missing a field goal. From the 20, Martin bouncing off a would-be tackler and could not get back to the line of scrimmage. Good pursuit by the Tennessee defense. Lonnie Martz firing in.
Lonnie Martz got the tackle, but the blitz from Eddie Robinson from the right side of the defense, he's going to go upfield and get penetration and knock Keith Byers, the fullback, back. But look at the penetration, those white jerseys in the backfield. Curtis Martin doesn't have a chance just to get where he got back close to the line of scrimmage. Is amazing because he was surrounded by the white jerseys of the Tennessee Oilers.
A loss of 2 on first down. 3 receivers, Dedrick Ward out on the field for New York. Testaverde lofting one ahead for Johnson. And a first down. Keyshawn Johnson bringing it in right on the sideline. A 12-yard pickup.
The New York Jets will take this every time. Look at the distance between Denard Walker and Keyshawn Johnson. He's going to push off the line of scrimmage. If he's that far away, he's just going to turn to the outside, and Vinny Testaverde will take that all afternoon long. If you give Keyshawn Johnson that type of space, he will kill you throughout the afternoon.
Third catch, 30 yards for Johnson, and a perfect sideline route to give New York another set of downs. Testaverde puts it in the air again. Crevette, good grab. It didn't even look like he saw the ball coming. As he moves ahead to the 40-yard line, 8 yards on the pass play. It'll be second and short coming up.
It's just a simple underneath pattern, a quick hitter. Vinny's going to take 3 steps back. Vinny Testaverde and just dump the ball off to Wayne Crevette, a little crossing route. But Wayne Crevette, he's a trash man. He picks up everything underneath and turns it into something positive. His yards after catch has been amazing. Each year gets more yards after a catch since he's been in the NFL.
Had a 63-yard touchdown reception last week against the Colts, the longest touchdown catch of his career. Jets looking long. Testaverde, Dedrick Ward juggling the football, and it's incomplete. In double coverage, Denard Walker helping out the corner. And Ward was this close to a big play.
And Dedrick Ward, the speed on the offense. He's going to stretch defenses. He pushes straight down the field and just uses his speed to run by the defender, Denard Walker. They're picking on Denard Walker this afternoon. But Dedrick Ward, you're going to see this throughout the rest of the afternoon. He will stretch the defense. That play will come back to haunt the Tennessee Oilers because Bill Parcells is playing a cat-and-mouse game. He will come back to the deep routes later on in the game.
Third and a long one for New York. They call on Martin to give the Jets the first down, and he does. Time ticking away with 5:32 left in the first.
Now, going back to that last play, what it does is it's a free play for the Jet offense because all they have to do is get less than a yard on third down. But now in the back of the mind of the secondary players of the Tennessee Oilers, they don't know. They have to be prepared for that deep route. You've got Keyshawn on one side, Crevette underneath. All of a sudden, Dedrick Ward's flying straight down the field 40 yards deep.
And again, a 3-receiver look. Line of scrimmage is the 44. Draw play, Martin. Trying to take it up the middle. Lonnie Martz met him along with Anthony Cook. This Tennessee defense ranked number 6 against the run so far this season, and that's what these defensive linemen do. And they get some help from the linebackers in 7- and 8-man fronts.
And what happens here, Ryan, not only that, is when you run a draw play, you need to have penetration by the defensive rush to get upfield. On first down, they weren't attacking on that play, so most of them stayed home and read the play and stayed on the line of scrimmage.
2nd and 9. Testaverde out for Crevette, making something happen after the catch, and he fumbles the football. They'll call it down. Wayne Crevette was ruled down on the play.
And he's just a first down maker. He's amazing. He finds a way to get to the first down marker. There he spins, puts his hands. His knee was on the ground when that ball came out. That's a good call by the officiating crew. His knee's down right there. There comes the ball.
No question about it on the second look. They move the chains. 1st and 10. Into Tennessee territory at the 45. This play never gets off as we have our first flag of the afternoon.
Start of the snap. False start. 89 offense. 5 yards. Repeat first down.
Dedrick Ward called. Ron Blum, our referee.
Taking another look, his knee is going to be down right there, then the ball comes out, and I think it's a great call by the officials. They're on top of the play.
So they'll back it up 5 yards. And now the Jets just shy of midfield. Wayne Chrebet leading the NFL in first downs this season. Testaverde on the quick toss. And Chrebet trying to stretch out the arms to get a little extra yardage. They'll spot the football right around the 46-yard line. Good catch by Chrebet to get back some of the loss that they had to deal with following the penalty.
And the thing about Wayne Chrebet, if you go across the NFL, a lot of people don't consider him one of the top echelon of the NFL as far as wide receivers go. He's not the Jake Reed type or the Jerry Rice, but he gets the job done. If I'm building a team, I want him on my team.
You know what, Mark? Enough of the overachiever tag that some people put on him. He's not an overachiever. He's one of the top targets in the NFL, flat out.
I agree.
Able to get it off for Byers. Look at Keith Byers go lunging out of bounds. We'll see where they spot the football as Byers is fighting to get first down yardage. It's going to be very close.
Keith Byers in his 13th year, what a competitor. Talked to him before the game, had 3 carries last week, the most he's had the entire season. But look at him on this screen. He's a guy you can always go to because he's always going to be in the spot where he's supposed to be. Right here, reaches out for the first down marker, always makes a smart play. You need guys like that on your club, those older veterans that can get you where you need to go to make first downs and get the team going.
We'll see if it was enough. First down, New York. Nice story with Byers also, Mark. And speaking with Eddie George, both out of Ohio State. George just looks up to Byers, his professionalism, and remembers him. I don't know if Keith wants to hear this, but Eddie remembers him when he was a little kid growing up, following Ohio State, and has had so many good things to say about him. Such high praise coming from George about Byers.
Absolutely, and that's a trend of the NFL. Most of the players that play say, hey, I remember this guy growing up. I watched him, wanted to emulate him, wanted to be him, wanted to go out and play and try to be like him. And all of a sudden, he's playing against him in a game.
On a 1st and 10. Quick throw from Testaverde. Good catch by Johnson. First down, and the Jets now moving the football via the air. Denard Walker in on the coverage. 14 yards for Keyshawn. Putting up big numbers early.
And that's what's impressive about Keyshawn Johnson. He'll go over the middle. He'll go into traffic. There are 3 defenders right there. He knows he's going to take a hit, but he holds on to the football and fights for extra yardage. Talked to Keyshawn yesterday. He said, hey, they're going to split me out. They're going to get me open. The big-time players need to step up, and they're going to throw me the ball, and I'm going to catch it.
So far, so good for Johnson. 4 catches, 45 yards. And another extended drive for New York. Now just trying to put some points on the board. Martin trying to cut back, and the Oilers were ready. Jets just not effective running the football just yet. Joey Salavea, the rookie out of Arizona, combining with Pratt Lyons. A loss of 4.
And penetration kills the running play. The Tennessee Oilers blitz, the white jerseys in the backfield. Curtis Martin has no place to go. The key to this Jeff Fisher defense, they will come up with big plays, but as Bill Parcells told us yesterday, they will give up the big play. So it's either feast or famine on this Tennessee Oilers defense.
9 carries, 23 yards, a 2.6 average for Curtis Martin so far. Martin will try it again. Couldn't break out to the clear as he crosses the 20-yard line. It'll be 3rd down and long coming up.
And Curtis Martin will pick his hole, and look, it's just a little slide draw, wants to go to the right, but cuts it back to the left. 2 hands on the football. We talked to Curtis Martin yesterday. He said, I don't mind the short gains because I know I'm going to get a big one sooner or later, but all I want is those positive carries to work on that defense and beat on that defense until the 4th quarter.
Time trickling away here in the 1st. Jets face a 3rd and 8 from the Tennessee 19. Testaverde is sacked. Steve Jackson, the first man to get to him.
And that is pressure defense. That's what head coach Jeff Fisher, the Tennessee Oilers, wants. He said he wanted to get on Vinny Testaverde, get in his face and pressure him. All the white jerseys go by the line of scrimmage. There's the linebacker, Eddie Robinson. On the outside, you're going to see Steve Jackson sack Vinny Testaverde, but Wayne Corbett trips on the play on the timing pattern. Vinny Testaverde didn't have a chance to look off to a second wide receiver. That's why Steve Jackson got to quarterback Vinny Testaverde.
End of the first quarter here in Nashville. The Oilers and Jets scoreless. Will return after this message. Mark May rejoining you from Tennessee. The Jets and Oilers no score as we start the second quarter. John Hall has missed already from 39 yards away. This will be a 43-yard attempt. Here's the kick from Hall. And this one is straight through. The Jets take the lead. Early in the second quarter, it's 3-0. Jets in front.
The NFL on CBS is sponsored by Honda Accord. It's more than a car, it's a state of mind. And by IBM. Are you ready for e-business?
Rejoining you from Nashville, the Jets take a 3-0 lead. 14:56 to play here in the first half. John Hall will kick it off for New York. Mike Archie is deep along with Spencer George. End over end. Hall got all of this one, and Archie will be forced to take a knee. Second possession of the game for the Oilers when we come back after these words. 13 minutes and 44 seconds, 24 plays. The Oilers going 3 and out on their only possession.
That's what's called owning the first quarter, but the Jets did move the ball very effectively on their drives, and that's what Bill Parcells wanted to do.
You own the first quarter, but you look at the scoreboard, and the Oilers can come right back, tie the game, or take the lead on just one possession. First and 10 from the 20. Eddie George gets the call. George motoring ahead as he gets out to the 27-yard line. Time now for an NFL Today report as we head to New York and Jim Nantz.
All right, Ian, let's check out now Kansas City. The Chiefs coming off the Monday debacle, down 7 early, and Rich Gannon finds Derek Alexander, and this ties the game 7-7 out at San Diego. Let's go back to Ian and Mark.
So some early scoring in that one. We've seen some offense from New York, but just the 3 points to show for it right now. 2nd and 3 for Tennessee. In motion, Kevin Dyson, the rookie. Eddie George nowhere to run. Pepper Johnson read that one perfectly. Coming up tonight on CBS from the people who brought you last year's #1 TV movie, What the Deaf Man Heard. Hallmark Hall of Fame proudly presents the story of a man whose life takes an unexpected turn when tragedy strikes, leaving him to raise his brother's family. St. Maybe tonight, right here on CBS. 3rd and 5 for Tennessee. Derek Mason checks in as a 3rd receiver in motion. Mishandling the snap, McNair trying to create and forced to throw it away. So some early mistakes from the Tennessee offense. Eddie George fumbling the football. McNair unable to handle that snap cleanly.
But this is a smart play by quarterback Steve McNair. Doesn't get the snap cleanly from center Mark Stepnowski, but he's smart enough and mature enough this year to at least run away with the football and throw it away and not hurt his team. That's his first fumble this season.
Led the NFL in that category a year ago with 16. And now it's Hendrick. Flag comes down. Craig Hendrick, a streak of 7 consecutive punts of 50 or more yards. We'll get the word from Ron Blum.
Prior to the snap, ball start, 33 offense. 5 yards, repeat 4th down.
And most of the time when you've got a punter in this situation, you would think that that extra 5 yards would hurt him, but not Craig Hendrick. He's going to boom one, but this is a punt that he's going to have trouble with because he's punting into the wind, and this could snap his streak.
For those who care, that punt was 51 yards. It was just called back. So the streak would have continued.
But There was a penalty. We'll have to find out after this punt.
Hendrick with Leon Johnson waiting. Fair catch signal made. Another flag down. That one was only 41 yards for Hendrick. It's against Tennessee.
Well, you may get another chance to keep this streak going if they accept the penalty.
But in the big picture.
No. The streak will still be alive because those punts don't count.
Well, what's the priority here for Jeff Fisher? Not keeping that streak alive, trying to pin the Jets back.
Point kick, holding. 26 of the kicking team. 10 yards, repeat fourth down.
So Hendrick will get another crack at it, but the Oilers are just moving in the wrong direction.
Absolutely. You don't want this to happen, and a ridiculous penalty is going to cost this football team. And the battle of field position, when you've got a punter like Craig Hendrick, you usually win it on the punting side of the ball, but if you keep backing him up into the end zone, this will hurt him. The first 5-yard penalty wouldn't hurt him, but this has got him in the end zone punting out, and the Jets may go after him.
First punt today, 64 yards. Hendrick gets his foot into this one. Leon Johnson will let it roll. Scoops it up and remains on his feet. Johnson out to the 45-yard line. 53-yard punt for Craig Hendrick. 3-0. Jets have the lead and the ball when we come back. Vinny Testaverde coming off his first loss as a starter for the New York Jets, now 6-1. Testaverde had a rough night last week following the loss to Indianapolis. We'll talk about that in a moment. Off of play action, the ball tipped. Nearly intercepted by Eddie Robinson. Testaverde telegraphing that pass and not putting it quite high enough. But Vinny told us that he just could not fall asleep last week after that loss to the Colts, kept playing it over and over in his head. Maybe because of plays like that.
Absolutely, and I've been in that situation before where you just don't perform up to your standards, and particularly in the second half last week against Indianapolis, and it just grinds on you mentally. You toss and turn at night, you can't concentrate, and you're just chomping at the bit to get back to practice on Wednesday.
He does know this Oiler team, though, his days in the AFC Central. Little dump off for Curtis Martin, creating after the catch. Martin remaining on his feet. Into Tennessee territory and finally tackled down to the 36. 19-yard pickup. Keyshawn Johnson laying out a block.
And that's an appropriate way to attack an attacking defense offensively. As you get them to come upfield, let them rush the quarterback, thinking they're going to get an easy sack. Curtis Martin does a good job of acting, going to the outside, faking a block, receiving the catch, and taking it downfield for the first down.
Jets now in business with a 1st and 10 at the 36-yard line of the Oilers. 2 catches for Martin, 23 yards. Split backfield for Testaverde. He's in some trouble and forced to throw it away. He did get rid of it. Gary Walker providing pressure.
And no one virtually touches Gary Walker right up the middle of the offense. Someone has to get a hand on him, but Vinny Testaverde, the KG veteran, throwing that ball away. Here's the blitz by Tennessee. You have to block those guys. You can't let them get a clean shot on your quarterback. At least stick one of those forearms out and slow him down. But that was a great job by Gary Walker of not stopping and not going for the screen and going right after the quarterback.
And Walker made a tremendous play on Cordell Stewart last week in the victory over Pittsburgh to help seal the W. With the play clock winding down, draw play to Martin. Tried to shuffle the feet, but he had nowhere to run. Joe Bowden, the first man to get there. It'll be 3rd and long coming up for New York.
The Tennessee Oilers defense, they're going close to the line of scrimmage. Watch their linebackers. They're playing that keyboard. When they see that ball's handed off, they don't want to sit and look at him step back and then attack the line of scrimmage and not let Curtis Martin hit those seams that he likes to hit to take the ball down the field to play. Great job by the linebacking corps. These guys are almost anonymous in the NFL, but as a unit, they're one of the best units of linebackers in the NFL.
Leon Johnson now in the lone setback. On 3rd and 11, Testaverde airing it out, looking for Johnson, and over his head. 4th down.
And Keyshawn's not happy about it because he had the defenders beat. The safety came over to cover Keyshawn late in the play. He has his cornerback beat right there on the line of scrimmage. Look, goes by him with the slot. He should have this ball for a touchdown. The safety, the rookie, Perry Phoenix, comes over a step late, but Keyshawn Johnson won on that play.
John Cade, the punter for New York. And the Jets will down it inside the 10. Chris Hayes hustling over. Oilers will have it from their own 8 when we come back to Nashville. You know it by looking at the scoreboard. 3-0 New York with 11:24 to play in the second quarter. Bill Parcells said last week was the low point in the 26 games that he has coached with the New York Jets. That's how disappointed he was following the Colts game. This Jets defense has looked a little different so far this week. They've been all over the Oilers offensively. Eddie George trying to squeeze through a hole up the middle as Rick Lyle and Mo Lewis were there defensively. Pick up a 4 on first down.
What this defense is doing is they're giving them different looks. The Tennessee Oilers, here, look at that, the nose tackle right there. They're giving them a 53 look. It looks like a 34 defense. Bill Parcells used to have with the New York Giants, but they're doing it with 4 down linemen, and that puts pressure on the offense because they're jumping around, moving people around defensively, which they haven't shown in the past few weeks.
5 carries, 17 yards for George. He gets the call again. This time he has some room. Tripped up as he crossed the 20 for a Tennessee first down. Jason Ferguson got him low for an 11-yard pickup. Eddie George.
And it's the backside that makes this play go. Look at Bruce Matthews, the old-timer out front leading that, but the backside cutoffs don't allow the linebackers to flow, and Eddie George can take the ball and hit it onside and go down the field to play. Great job of reading the offense. Brian Cox blitzes through. Bruce Matthews takes him out of the play, but the backside blocks took out the linebackers on the backside of play. That allowed Eddie George to get around the corner and take the ball down the field.
The Oilers with their first down of the day. Tight end Frank Wycheck sets up wide. George. Eddie George moves ahead to the 35-yard line. 11 yards on the ground. And now Tennessee moving the football. Another Oilers first down.
Bruce Matthews did an outstanding job of pulling from the left guard position and blocking out. Watch Matthews right here. He's going to pull and trap out. That allows Eddie George to hit this seam. Boom, right there. Look at the hole for Eddie George. It's a nice alley to run through. Good block on Rick Lyle, but if you hit the quick kicks like that, those trap plays, they're tough to defend for the New York Jets.
Eddie George, not this time. Wrapped up on the play by Victor Green. Jeff Fisher, the head coach of the Oilers, made a point in our meeting with him to accentuate how much he likes Victor Green and his style of play, and Green just burned his team.
He blitzed on that play out of the secondary, and his quickness of timing it, the intelligence of a veteran defensive back. He knows when to time it, when to judge the snap count. Came on the last play perfectly, got into the backfield, and was in the tackle with him reloading.
2nd and 12 for Tennessee. We are yet to see Steve McNair do some of the things that have helped this Oilers team over the last 6 games. Tennessee has won 5 of the last 6. They just get the play off. McNair throws it out for Harris. Jackie Harris extending the body for a Tennessee first down. 14 yards. McNair to Harris.
And Steve McNair uses his tight ends, Frank Wycheck and Jackie Harris, like wide receivers. He's going to come across the screen in front of you right to the outside and just get away from Brian Cox, get the separation for the reception. But hey, I was talking to the tight end coach earlier, George Henshaw. What a job he's doing coaching these guys. Brian Cox gets cut on that play. Nice block by the wide receiver coming back to block for your tight end Jackie Harris. But I was talking to George Henshaw, the tight end coach, and he said, we've got 2 guys, Frank Wycheck, Jackie Harris, they don't say a word. If we had a guy like that, Art Monk, when they say one word and open their mouth, the entire team goes silent and they listen.
I wish you'd take a cue from them every now and again. Jackie Harris, first catch. In fact, the first completion for McNair, and there's the second. Look at Wycheck after the catch. Coach Fisher discussed what Wycheck can do despite that big body after he catches the football, how he makes defenders miss.
And the guys on his team, he said, in the open field, the first guy that I like, Steve McNair. The second guy's Frank Wycheck. The third guy's Eddie George. But then we asked him, well, who would you rather have? He said, Eddie George. He knows how to make guys miss in the open field, Frank Wycheck. For some reason, that first tackle will never bring him down.
First down, Tennessee at the New York 43. Jets lead it 3-0. Eddie George trying to bounce to the outside. Able to stiff arm Otis Smith as he's forced out of bounds. Time now for an NFL Today report. Jim Nantz in New York.
Well, here comes the completion of an 80-yard Denver drive that included a pass play to John Elway. He caught a pass, then threw the pass for the touchdown to Shannon Sharpe. Elway's over 50,000 on his career today. And we go back now to Ian and Mark.
And the Broncos just keep rolling along. We approach the 7-minute mark of the second quarter. 3-0 New York. 2nd and 5 for Tennessee. From the Jets 38. McNair. Little pump fake. Eddie George. Coming out of the backfield to make the catch and to give Tennessee another first down. Finally twirled down by Victor Green. But George picks up 10 yards on the pass play.
Brian, 3 great things happened on that play. One, Steve McNair, the maturity of the quarterback of pumping the ball, making Mo Lewis go for the first pump fake so he could drop the ball off to Eddie George. And second, a great play by defensive linebacker Mo Lewis of coming up the field to play, then going back, reversing himself, and getting in on the tackle downfield on Eddie George.
Oilers looking like a different team now offensively. With a 1st and 10 at the New York 29. George trying to cut it, breaks one tackle, but cannot break the second effort by New York. Brian Cox was the first man to get there. He slowed him down, and then Jason Ferguson was able to come over and finish him off.
And Brian Cox will come up the field and just go by the tight end with a nice swim move and get in the backfield. He actually gets knocked in the backfield, but he's always hustling, Brian Cox. One of the guys last week that never gave up was flying across the field to play through 4 quarters. He will not be denied. He's got a new life in New York.
He's having fun. He's rejuvenated with the New York Jets, and he's playing good football. Mike Archie checks in for George. McNair. He'll run with it. Steve McNair sliding down at the 15-yard line. A couple of Jet defenders told us McNair is a running back who just happens to have a strong arm and play the quarterback position.
Quarterback Steve McNair, he looks downfield, no one's there. Last second, pulls it down and takes off to the races. Brian Cox will get in on the tackle from 40 yards away, takes a punch at Steve McNair over the top. That should be a penalty. That's just frustration on Brian Cox. Right there, a right cross. Not a good play, Brian, not a smart play, but Steve McNair doing the things to make this team win at the quarterback position.
17-yard run for McNair. George now back in there for Tennessee. 11th play of the drive. Here's the pitch. Eddie George. George game tackled as he got down to the 12-yard line by Victor Green and Otis Smith.
And Eddie George out there, the size of Eddie George is still impressive. When you talk to the defenders of the New York Jets, talk to the coaching staff, here's a guy that's a little over 6'3", 250 pounds. He's the size of one of the linemen or tight ends, and he's got the ability to go the distance each time he touches the football.
Mark, he's the size of you.
I know, that's what's scary. He's the size of me, and I used to be a lineman in the NFL.
6 yards shy of the 1,000-yard plateau. It would be the 3rd consecutive year that George has hit that mark. On a 2nd and 7. Here's George. Cutting it back and brought down at the 10-yard line. Jerome Henderson leading the charge. It'll be 3rd down coming up. 3rd and about 4.
And this is what Brian Cox is talking about. He wants a bunch of green jerseys around the running back to gain tackle around Eddie George. Not just one guy. Look at the green jerseys surround him. That's good defense, right? Brian Cox again over the top. He better watch it. He's going to get caught for that. That's 2 times Brian Cox could have been called for a personal foul.
No penalties as of yet on New York.
He waits at the last. I like that by Brian Cox. As long as you don't get caught, you kind of like that in a play. That's nasty.
See, we're getting to know a little bit more about you as a person as well. Play clock running down, and McNair, sensing that,
Timeout.
calls the timeout. And stops the clock with a 3:19 showing. We're in the second quarter. Tennessee is knocking on the door. Shotgun McNair on the flip. Wycheck. He fumbles the football. And the Oilers able to get it back with Eddie George, recovering it at the 6-yard line.
Outstanding hustle by Eddie George. It's a shovel pass, pitches it to Frank Wycheck. He's got great blocking in front of him. Bruce Matthews out in front just destroying Brian Cox, but he fumbles the ball on the way down. But the hustle by Eddie George of saving this drive is amazing.
And because of that fumble, it appears as if the Oilers have come up short on the first down. It's going to be very close. Wycheck had it, with his forward momentum, but he did lose the football at the last moment. Dwayne Gordon knocking the ball free. They'll extend the chains, and they're well short. Fans trying to give Jeff Fisher a message to go for it. It's rare that fans start yelling kick. You notice that?
I don't think I've ever heard that in my 13 years of playing in the NFL. One thing about Del Greco, he's very good at these kicks, and watching him before the game, he's almost automatic in a kick like this. And it's just a little pickup of the leg that he does it. It's amazing. I was watching him. It's not a big motion, and you know the practice motion you just saw is not what he's going to do with the ball when he kicks it. It's just a little chip shot.
It's a 24-yard attempt. Del Greco, a pro's pro. 15th here in the NFL out of Auburn. Looked like he was going to be out of the league back in '91 when the Oilers signed him up. Del Greco's kick is good. A flag down on the play. And it's against Tennessee.
And Bill Parcells will definitely make them re-kick this. Move him back. There he is.
Here's Ron Blum.
Holding. 88 offense. 10 yards. Repeat 4th down.
That's tight end Jackie Harris. So from a 24-yard attempt, it'll now be a 29-yard kick for Del Greco. He's 22 of 25 so far this season in field goal attempts. His career long, 56. Long this season, 48. Straight through for Del Greco. And we are tied. 2:35 to play first half. It's 3-3, Jets and Oilers. Field in Chicago, an added wrinkle here at Vanderbilt Stadium. You can watch the game and actually be outside the stadium. That's a rooftop. You might be curious where our broadcast location is. Well, yeah, keep going, keep going. Hello.
You're about the same distance away as they are.
My goodness, we are high. Leon Johnson off the Hendrick kick. Johnson upended at the 25-yard line by Steve Jackson. 14-yard return for Johnson. We'll step aside. All locked up at 3-3. 3-3, New York and Tennessee all tied up with 2:27 left. First half. Coming up, the NASDAQ Amex halftime report. Jim Nantz and company will get you caught up on all the scores and highlights. The NASDAQ Amex halftime report. Jets have it, 1st and 10 from the 26. Testaverde in the pocket. Almost intercepted. Marcus Robertson, the free safety, had a shot at it. Gary Walker applying some pressure in the backfield on Testaverde.
And Vinny Testaverde tried to force this ball into traffic. There's nothing but white jerseys in that area right there. That's the ball he needs to throw away. He's trying to make something happen. I understand that. But you don't want to throw it into a wall of defenders, and there's nothing but white jerseys around Dietrich Ward.
Clock stops with 2:21 left, first half. Keith Byers sets up as a receiver. Testaverde's numbers. Play fake. Johnson brings it in. Johnson breaking free to the 49-yard line. 23-yard pass play. Testaverde to Johnson. Matt O'Dwyer helping out with a block.
This is a fantastic execute play. Kevin Mawai outside with a great block downfield. And here's Keyshawn Johnson following his blockers, but Keyshawn did an outstanding job of setting this play up, going into motion, coming back, throwing a little block on the defensive end, and then going out and getting the screen pass in the flat. Smart play by Keyshawn Johnson, but that's a very good executed play.
5 catches, 68 yards for Johnson. And we have hit the 2-minute warning. All tied up, 3-3. That must be tough at the dinner table for those two. Tomorrow on CBS, an event 5 years in the making. David Letterman's 5th anniversary primetime special. Come celebrate with an all-star lineup. Jerry Seinfeld, Julia Roberts, the guy with the plunger, Madonna, and much more. Plus a look back at Dave's favorite moments. David Letterman in primetime tomorrow on CBS. Jets have it 1st and 10 at their own 49-yard line. Testaverde, quick throw. Chrebet could not haul it in. We saw some drops last week from Wayne Chrebet. On first look, that one looked like a catchable ball, maybe a bit behind him.
That ball had a lot on it, and this play is just a simple protection. It's a quick play action where you're going to cut the defensive lineman if you can, and right there on the left they do, but that ball was right on the backside of his numbers. But Vinny Testaverde needs to take a little bit off on that pass.
2nd and 10, New York with 3 receivers. Brady in motion, yet to get involved offensively. Testaverde was looking for him there, incomplete. Over Brady's head. So now the Jets face a 3rd and 10 and also face the prospect of giving Tennessee the football with enough time on the clock for McNair to work his magic.
He's been excellent in 2 minutes the last few weeks, moving his football team down the field, playing, putting points on the board, and Bill Parcells knows that, and their offense needs a big play to keep the ball out of Steve McNair's hands.
Testaverde 1 for his last 6 throwing the football. Leon Johnson in the backfield. On the rollout, Testaverde moving pocket. Fires. Incomplete. Once again high, Dedrick Ward, all 5'9" of him, tried to go upstairs to get it.
And earlier when we talked to the Jets, they told us that Keyshawn Johnson would be a major part of this game plan, but they've thrown the ball in Dedrick Ward's direction at least 5 times in this game. He's got to come up with the plays, but Vinny Testaverde needs to make a better throw. They roll out their protection. It's called speed protection. Gets the quarterback out of the pocket, so it puts more pressure on the defense.
Second punt of the afternoon for John Kidd. The first one was 29 yards, but it did land inside the 10. This one again inside the 10, and a fair catch signal from Derek Mason as he brings it in at the 9. 42-yard punt. And don't forget about the halftime report. NASDAQ Amex with Jim Nantz, Marcus Allen, Brent Jones, and George Seifert. Scores and highlights. Week 12 of the NFL. That's all coming up on the NASDAQ Amex halftime report. Steve McNair, he told us he tried to do too much last season, and now he has a lot more confidence in his teammates. That's been part of the formula for success for Steve McNair. 2-0 versus the Jets in his career. Last week he completed passes to 7 different receivers. So far this week, only 4 completions in the first half. Under 2 minutes to play. Second quarter. On the give to Eddie George. A host of tacklers in on the play for New York after George picked up 4 yards on first down. Clock continues to move. Oilers have 2 timeouts to play with. Jets have 3. And Eddie George has just gone over the 1,000-yard mark for the 3rd straight year, joining 9 other players in NFL history to achieve that milestone. McNair keeping it himself. Straddling the sideline, and he took a lick. Dwayne Gordon involved in the play. Brian Cox came over and exchanged some words with Scott Sanderson, who took exception to the pop that McNair received.
This is a design quarterback run from the start, but Steve McNair outruns the pressure by Mo Lewis. He's trying to make something happen. He's fair game. He's a running back right here in the field to play. That's a clean hit by the linebacker, Dwayne Gordon. The fans here don't like it, but he is a legitimate threat out here to run with the football like a running back. He's got to make sure that he doesn't get any extra yardage. That's a smart heads-up play by Dwayne Gordon. That's taking a shot at a quarterback and getting away with it.
6 yards for McNair, enough for the first down. Now 2 carries, 24 yards for McNair. George met by Mo Lewis, but not after Eddie George got some solid yardage on first down. 6-yard pickup. And the Oilers have taken a timeout, stopping the clock with 52 seconds to play in the second quarter. Ball spotted at the 26-yard line. Well, right now, let's take a look at the CBS Sportsline question of the week, where we ask you, who's the most dominating linebacker of the 1990s? Your choices: Kevin Green, Levon Kirkland, or Junior Seau. Log on to vote at cbs.sportsline.com or on America Online at keyword CBS Sportsline. The tandem of Steve McNair and Eddie George, so dangerous. Bill Parcells talking at great lengths about the talent that those two players possess. And we talked about George going over 1,000 yards, joining rather select company. Curtis Martin of the New York Jets, one of those other 9 players to go over 1,000 yards in his first 3 years in the NFL. Play fake. McNair, plenty of time. Throwing across on the other side of the field to Derek Mason. The Jets were fooled in a 24-yard hookup out to midfield.
And in the last 2 minutes, either in the second quarter at the end of the game, in the last 4 games, the Tennessee Oilers have 5 scores, 3 touchdowns and 2 field goals, and that's all due to quarterback Steve McNair. The way that he can execute the 2-minute drill, he fools the defense here, rolls to the right, throws across the grain where the defense flows to them because he's such a threat running the ball. They have to respect him. That allows his wide receivers to get open anywhere across the field, and Derek Mason comes down for the first down reception.
Longest reception of the season for Mason as he came off the field limping. McNair, plenty of time. Now some pressure from Farrior. McNair buying himself some extra time and throwing on the run, incomplete. Took a lot of time off that clock. And the Oilers will have a 2nd and 10 from the 50.
That was Dave Craig, the backup quarterback on the sidelines, talking to Steve McNair as he goes back on the field. Long-time 19-year NFL veteran, has been around for a long time. Steve McNair tells us he's like another coach out there, but he asks him 1,000 questions every time he comes off the field. He's got 4 or 5 questions for him every time he comes off the field. But hey, that's what it needs to happen to make a young quarterback get to the level, to a playoff level. You need a mature veteran quarterback that's been there 1,000 times to tell you what you're doing, tell you where you're going, correct your mistakes.
It's only the 2nd year for McNair as a full-time starter. Throwing and complete to Wycheck. Frank Wycheck comes up just a little bit short of that first down marker. And a timeout has been called by Tennessee.
Talking to Steve McGarry yesterday, he said that the reason why they've been so successful in 2 minutes is they spend a lot more time on the 2-minute drill. Most teams, and I played in the NFL 13 years, we spend about 15 minutes on a Saturday on our 2-minute drill. Well, this team, they executed on Wednesdays and Thursdays, spending an extra 15 minutes during their practice. That's why they've been so good the last couple of weeks with their 2-minute drill.
Well, this week marks the beginning of the holiday season. A great meal with friends and family and the NFL on CBS. That looks pretty good.
I'm hungry.
Barry Sanders hogs the ball and cranberry sauce on Turkey Day. And the Steelers defense just wants to kick the stuffing out of the Lions. It all gets underway at noon Eastern with the NFL Today right here on CBS. Jim Nantz and the rest of the crew. Hope you'll join us on Thanksgiving right here on CBS. 3rd and 1 with 24 seconds to play in the second quarter. McNair driving ahead himself, and he's got the first down for Tennessee. Oilers do not have any timeouts remaining. They just blew their final timeout. McNair spikes it, and he stops the clock with 12 seconds remaining. They have the football at the 39-yard line. Not quite in Al Del Greco's range.
They don't have to get all of the field here. They don't have to get a touchdown. What they need is about 12 yards, 10 to 12 yards, get up on the football, spike it, and give Al Del Greco a chance. He's got a strong leg. He can hit it up to about 48 to 50 yards, but he needs another 10 or 12 yards.
After 50 yards, they might bring in Hendrick for a long attempt. 12 seconds to play in the second quarter. McNair, again, plenty of time. He had Dyson open. Incomplete.
And that's a play that wide receiver Kevin Dyson needs to come down with. Beat his man to the outside, ran the corner route. They cleared it out. Look at down the front of the field. They cleared out the defenders. He's got that area where he needs to come down with that reception for the first down, but more importantly, it gets him out of bounds and stops the clock and gives him a field goal opportunity.
The number 16 pick overall, first receiver taken in the draft, Dyson out of Utah. couldn't haul it in. Only 7 ticks of the clock left. 3 receivers all line up on the same side. McNair down to 4 seconds, airing it out, throwing it deep for the end zone. And knocked out of the end zone. Incomplete. And time has run out here in the first half. The score, the Jets 3, the Oilers 3. Coming up, the NASDAQ Amex halftime report. Jim Nantz and company will get you caught up on all the scores and highlights. The NASDAQ Amex halftime report coming up after a word from your local at the end of the season. The Oilers will have the football to start play here in the second half. Spencer George and Mike Archie are deep. John Hall, one of the top kickoff men in the NFL, will do the honors for New York. Tied at 3 as we start play in the second half. Oilers coming off that emotional win over Pittsburgh. The Jets disappointing defeat at the hands of the Colts. Second half is underway. Hall booms it through out of the end zone. And the Oilers will have it 1st and 10 from the 20. Look at the halftime stats. In the first quarter, it was all New York offensively. Second quarter, tables turned, and the Oilers caught up in most categories. Rushing yards, well, you see it. Curtis Martin just not doing much. Jets have primarily passed here this afternoon. Total yards very close. Time of possession, it was all Jets in that first quarter, but again, as mentioned, the Oilers doing a much better job in the second quarter of play.
And every offensive team wants to establish the run. With Curtis Martin, 2.5 yards a carry, that's just not getting it done.
Martin had 134 yards last week against the Colts. Not even close today. Third quarter action. Eddie George driving the pile ahead to the 28-yard line. Solid pickup on first down of 8 yards. Jason Lehman, the right guard, laying out a block.
And it's runs like that that make it much easier for quarterback Steve McNair. And the Jet defense, they're matching up man-to-man up front and getting a lot of people down in three-point stance on first down and putting big bodies up front on the defensive line to combat the offensive run push of the Tennessee Oilers.
George went over 1,000 yards on the season in the first half, second in the AFC behind Terrell Davis in rushing. Had to get to the 30-yard line for the first down. Ernie Logan and Brian Cox combining.
Brian Cox is like a man possessed with that right cross. On that last play, he came across the top of the pile again and gave Eddie George, the running back from Tennessee, a punch on that play. He's going to get fined for that. Gene Washington from New York, I guarantee, is going to take a couple of looks at that film.
Hey, you respect the guy for trying to make something happen, but do it within the rules. And Cox might be taking a step over that line. He's walking it. I think on a couple of occasions he's gone over it. We saw what happened with Kansas City and Derek Thomas. Don't want to equate it quite to that level just yet, but Cox is straddling that line. McNair on the counter. Eddie George. The Jets were leaning one way defensively, and McNair able to find George on the other side. Mo Lewis and Ernie Logan collaborating. 8 yards on the pass play.
But what makes this play work is the exceptional play-action fake that Steve McNair carries out on this play. He's going to fake the ball to Eddie George, and the defensive linebackers, look at the linebackers step up in the line of scrimmage. They're already beat on this play. It's already over. Eddie George is out in the flat, and that allows Steve McNair to complete the pass.
Frank Wycheck lines up wide. On a 2nd and 2, that's Wycheck in motion. McNair checking off. Play clock down to 1. It was very close. Oilers get the playoff. McNair guns one ahead. Deflected and incomplete. Wycheck the target. Pepper Johnson was right there.
And the Jets are in a deep zone. Look at the safeties pull off. Watch them drip back. Pepper Johnson's in his zone. He's got the middle of the field. Look, he's going to come back to Frank Wycheck. He's just going to settle down in the middle of the field and try to find an open spot in that zone, but Pepper Johnson was in the position to make that play.
Now a 3rd and 2. Jets come out with a dime package, 6 defensive backs crowding the line. McNair, another shovel for Wycheck, and he's got some room to work with. Into Jets territory and forced out of bounds at the 46. 16 yards.
But I'm the old-timer pulling around 74. Bruce Matthews gets a splatter block, allowing Frank Wycheck to take the ball down the field for the first down. He doesn't even get touched till he gets past the first down marker. But it was a great block from Bruce Matthews. He's going to pull here, get a tremendous block right there, just putting him on his backside. That allows Frank Wycheck to get to the open field. And they tried this play before. Wycheck picked up the first down, fumbled the ball. They recovered it. This play gets the first down and hangs on to the football.
Two tight end set as Michael Roan checks into the game. George brought down quickly. Brian Cox trying to keep the rest of the defenders enthusiastic. Jets lost some focus in the second half last week against the Colts.
And Brian Cox is all over the field in the second half, trying to ignite his team. Here, he makes plays all over the field. He beats the block of Jackie Harris, the tight end, goes across his face, makes the tackle in the backfield on running back Eddie George. One thing you can say about Brian Cox, he comes to play. He's a lunch bucket type guy. He's going to come to play every day and have fun and make plays for him.
No gain on the play. The official spotted at the 46. McNair stepping up, throwing the deep ball down the sideline. Incomplete. Otis Smith breaking it up. Derek Mason, the intended receiver. Anthony Pleasant applying the pressure on McNair in the backfield.
And he laid a lick on quarterback Steve McNair right on his knee. On the outside, if he gets this ball off a little earlier, he beats his man to the outside, has to step on him right there. Mason's got to step on the defender, but he's got to come back for the ball. The reason why he has to come back for the ball is the backside of quarterback Steve McNair. Anthony Pleasant right there nails him right at waist high. Good pressure by Pleasant, but that's the reason why that ball was thrown short.
Don't forget, coming up after the game, 60 minutes here on CBS. 8th play of the drive. Oilers are 2 of 6 on third down conversions. Tied at 3. McNair stepping forward, in some trouble. Loose football. Jason Ferguson knocked it loose. And the Oilers get it back. Bruce Matthews.
Bruce Matthews, that old KG veteran, Johnny on the spot. But it's amazing that the Jets got to quarterback Steve McNair. They only used a 3-man rush and got the sack. You've got 5 guys blocking against 3, but the great play of Jason Ferguson, unrelentless, going after quarterback Steve McNair and stripping him of the ball. That's tremendous pressure out of a 3-man rush.
McNair had no fumbles coming into the day. He's got 2, but no change of possession. The Hentrick punt. Leon Johnson fair catch signal. And the Jets will have their first possession of the second half when we come back to Nashville. Tied at 3. The Jets and the Oilers with 10:42 to play in the third quarter. Tennessee just had its first possession of the second half. Now the Jets get their turn. From the 20-yard line, Johnson in motion, a pitch for Martin. The Jets trying to get their running game going. And Martin getting through a hole, still unable to pop that long one. But a 9-yard pickup on first down. Johnson and Fabini with a couple of blocks for Martin to work with.
And a nice job by Jason Savini pulling out around the down block of the tight end and getting out in traffic and just clearing a way for Curtis Martin to find an area where he can take the ball and get positive yardage. It makes it easy for quarterbacks when it's 2nd and 1, 2nd and 2. Now you can take a shot down the field to stretch the defense because you always have 3rd and short to get the first down.
But Martin averaging just 3 yards a carry so far today. Martin has the first down. Kept the feet churning a bit to pick up an extra yard on the play. Joe Bowden the tackle for Tennessee.
Talking to Curtis Martin yesterday, he was telling us that he doesn't mind those 1 and 2 and 3 yard gains. And here's a situation where he fouls his blockers, makes a nice cut in the middle of the field, but he doesn't mind those short gains, particularly when it's a short yardage pickup.
He made the analogy about a hitter in baseball seeing a pitcher for the 2nd and 3rd time in a game. If he can chip away at a defense and kind of pick up the nuances of an opposing team, he'll get stronger as the game goes on. Martin, this time, spun around like a top as he gets ahead to the 38-yard line. Kenny Holmes the tackle, a 4-yard gain on first down.
And the Jets come out and just pound the ball in the second half on their first possession. And this is the way they attacked the second half last week against Indianapolis coming out of the second half. Very conservatively pounding the football and running between the tackles.
Martin by himself in the backfield. On 2nd and 6, Testaverde throwing. Lofts one up in the air, and a flag comes down. Krebet, the intended receiver. Samari Rolle was involved. The rookie out of Florida State, second-round pick.
And that's an easy one. That'll be on the defense. And Samari Rolle had his hand on Wayne Krebet down the field of play. And that's what players...
Pass interference, 21 defense. First down, New York.
That's what players, when they step it up to the NFL, they've got to learn. Once you go by 5 yards, you cannot touch the wide receiver. Good move by Wayne Krebet. Turn move to the outside. Going down the field to play, you can't touch the wide receiver. And in the last play, Samari Rolle did.
So the football is placed at the 35-yard line. Jets have it in Tennessee territory. Martin wouldn't go down initially, and now he does. Steve Jackson wrapping him up. Oilers have some veterans in this secondary. Jackson, Darrell Lewis, Marcus Robertson, but no Blaine Bishop today. A knee injury could keep him out of action for the next 3 to 4 weeks. It's a sprained knee, but not a torn ACL, which was what the first thought was when Bishop suffered the injury last week. No gain for Martin, 2nd and 10. In motion, Krebet. On the pitch. Martin. He was met by Eddie Robinson. So the Jets not going away from this game plan of trying to establish the run.
They're trying to circle the defense by running their sweep to the outside, but Eddie Robinson has enough speed to go down the line of scrimmage and fill those gaps. There's no gap or no seams for running back Curtis Martin to hit because the Tennessee Oilers are filling every gap, every hole, and every seam when Curtis Martin tries to turn the ball down the field.
Leon Johnson replaces Martin on a 3rd and 7. Testaverde underneath the coverage. Wayne Krebet just keeps producing first downs for this Jets team. 14 yards on the play.
Push out of bounds by number 21, Samari Rolle.
Wayne Krebet's like a magician. When it comes 3rd down, I double team the guy. I don't let him go out there and have one guy cover Wayne Krebet. Tennessee comes with a blitz, but it's a quick hitter to the outside. Wayne Krebet's on the outside, and you have a rookie, Samari Rolle, covering him. You've got to get someone on Wayne Krebet in his face at the line of scrimmage, make him make his move on the line of scrimmage, and then play him off the ball. But if you let him off the line of scrimmage cleanly, he's going to beat you.
4 catches, 38 yards for Krebet. On a 1st and 10 from the 17. In motion out of the backfield is Ward. Testaverde looks towards the end zone. Incomplete. Wayne Krebet had a step. Samari Rolle with a deflection.
That was a big play by the rookie. That's a big-time play coming across the top, making his burst right at the last instant in front of Wayne Krebet and pulling that ball virtually out of Krebet's hands. Krebet's got him beat on the post pattern, but he goes in front of him and just takes the ball from Krebet and knocks it out of his hands. Good play by the rookie, Samari Rolle, but that pass had touchdown written all over. Wayne Krebet ran the precise route. The ball was right behind the goal, right in front of the goalpost on the post pattern, but he just couldn't come down with the reception.
2nd and 10 for New York. Clock is stopped with 6:47 remaining in the 3rd.
Timeout. New York. Their first charge team timeout. This is a full timeout.
First possession of the second half for the Jets. They're trying to take the lead.
Casco GTS. Drive hard. And by DirecTV. What are you looking at?
The Jets and Oilers are tied at 3 with 6:47 to play in the 3rd quarter. In their last 3 losses, the Jets have not scored in the second half. Movement on that right side, trying to get back with Kenny Holmes as flags fly down before the play even gets off. Was it Jumbo Elliott or was it Kenny Holmes?
Prior to the snap, ball start. 76 offense, 5 yards, repeat second down.
It was Jumbo Elliott. Second Jet penalty.
Very uncharacteristic of Jumbo Elliott. There's Jumbo right there. See if he flinches. I don't see him move unless he sneezes.
He may have a cold.
It's a little chilly down there.
I did not see him move either. So that was from the backside. Who knows from the front side whether or not there was a flinch. But as mentioned, just the second penalty on New York and a 2nd and 15 for the Jets. Martin cutting it back. Curtis Martin spun down inside the 10-yard line by Baron Wortham. 15 yards on the ground for Martin.
And that was a tremendous job of Curtis Martin following his blockers on the draw. Set it up well, goes to the inside, gets blocking by Jumbo Elliott on the outside. Keyshawn Johnson down the field, picking off defenders, allowing Curtis Martin to take the ball inside the 10-yard line.
We'll see if Martin had enough for the first down. He did not. Last week against the Colts, the Jets had a number of opportunities to put Indianapolis away, but instead of touchdowns, they were forced to settle for field goals. This is a perfect opportunity to put 7 points in between them and Tennessee.
Not only that, here's a situation where Bill Parcells has had problems in short yardage and goal line situations with running the football. Missed assignments, guys not moving guys off the line of scrimmage, or offensive line moving the defensive line. He needs to get that tough mentality of a killer instinct on the offensive line to get movement, allowing his backs to get those first downs and touchdowns instead of just trying a field goal attempt inside the red area.
9th play of the drive, and it's a pivotal one. A 3rd and 1. Double tight end set with Brady and Baxter. Martin and Byers in the backfield. Martin gets the call, trying to get to the outside, and brought down right at the first down marker, and enough for New York to get a new set of downs.
That was all Curtis Martin on that play. 2nd and 3rd effort to get the first down, because in all reality, he should have been dropped for a loss in the backfield. He didn't get the blocking to the outside. He had to bounce the ball all the way to the outside edge. Keith Byers in front of him getting the block, but the penetration by the Tennessee Oilers. Right here, they've got a chance to get him, but he strings it out. A nice straight arm to the face of the defender, pushing him back. Kerry Phoenix, the rookie, allowing Curtis Martin to get the first down.
1st and goal from the 6. Draw play. Martin spinning inside the 5 and down inside the 3. Jackson and Robertson combining on the tackle. It'll be 2nd and goal from the 3.
You don't see many teams run the draw play on first down inside the 10-yard line, because most of the time you're going to run the football. But because the Tennessee Oilers like to penetrate, they like to put pressure on offense, they like to blitz, that's a great call, because it gets the defenders upfield in the backfield and gives Curtis Martin a chance to pick and weave and get closer to the goal line.
2nd and goal. Byers sets up as a 3rd tight end. Handoff Martin, trying to bull ahead and nothing doing. Tennessee was ready, and Joe Bowden helped lead the charge.
And this is tough real estate. You can't come in here with high heel shoes on and tippy toe. You've got to hit the hole, Curtis Martin. You can't lean in that area. You've got to force the issue. And as soon as you stop, the defense is going to nail you on the line of scrimmage and get penetration. Bill Parcells knows that. They need to create a freeze for Curtis Martin to hit, because once he slows down in the red area, you've got too many jerseys in the short area that are going to attack the line of scrimmage.
3rd and goal. Corbett in motion. Climbing pattern. Keyshawn Johnson's got it. Touchdown, Jets. New York regains the lead. A perfectly thrown ball, and Johnson climbed the imaginary ladder to go up and get it.
And that's just a bigger man against a smaller man. A good small man in Darrell Lewis, a great defensive quarterback, but a bigger man in Keyshawn Johnson because of that athletic ability and his height and the length of his arms. Watch him go up here and just go over the defender. Easy for Keyshawn Johnson, pitch and catch, concentrating on the ball, both of them, but Keyshawn Johnson with those long arms and big hands pulls it in for the touchdown.
Keyshawn Johnson with his 8th touchdown reception, tying a career high. John Hall adds the extra point. That's Johnson at his best, using him against those smaller defenders, and it worked to perfection. New York puts a touchdown on the board. It's 10-3 Jets. The sun has fully set here in the city of Nashville, and the New York Jets with a 10-3 lead on Tennessee with 4:10 to play in the third quarter. Don't forget, after the game, 60 minutes immediately following our coverage of the Jets and Oilers right here on CBS. Oilers start out at the 20. Their average drive start has been just shy of the 18-yard line today, so they've been dealing with a lot of real estate. McNair, a throw on first down. Kevin Dyson in some traffic. He brings it in for a short gain. Otis Smith, the coverage.
That's a smart play by the Tennessee Oilers. Are going after the defense of the Jets. They've got a lot of people close to the line of scrimmage, 7 to 8 people in the box. That's from the tight end back around the front line of scrimmage, and that puts pressure on the defense. It opens up holes in pockets behind the linebackers.
While the Oilers have been very good of late, winning 5 of their last 6, they haven't been very good at home. 2-3 so far this season. Eddie George trying to stumble ahead, and the Jets were prepared for him, including Ernie Logan. It'll be third down coming up. Well, it's Monday on CBS. David Letterman hosts all new Thanksgiving episodes of Cosby, King of Queens, and Everybody Loves Raymond, followed by Dave's 5th anniversary primetime special, Monday, on CBS. 3rd and 6 for Tennessee, 3 wide receivers. Jets counter with 6 defensive backs. We hit the 3-minute mark of the third quarter. Out of the shotgun, McNair. Stepping up, plenty of time. Incomplete. He was looking for Wycheck. Corwin Brown getting a piece of it.
Nice job.
The Oilers forced
the
the punt.
Absolutely, but nice job of coverage by the Jets. But what the Jets are doing, they're going with 3 down linemen. They're using James Ferrier as a spy, and he's going to stay one-on-one with quarterback Steve McNair and mirror him wherever he goes. And that allows the defense to bring in 7 defenders to cover the wide receivers down the field.
Greg Hendrick's streak came to an end on his last punt. He had 7 consecutive punts of over 50 yards. Leon Johnson over to make the fair catch signal at the 31-yard line. 45-yard punt, Jets with a 7-point lead. They have the football when we come back. Them and Tennessee with New York in front, 10-3. Now log on to NFL.com for sortable stats. Also highlights of all the action Week 12 at www.nfl.com. First and 10 for New York. A quick little out for Keyshawn Johnson. And a good gainer on first down. Testaverde making the connection. Denard Walker with the coverage. And a pickup of 7 on the play.
And the Jets want to separate Keyshawn Johnson away from the defense, get him in his own environment, in space. And if the Tennessee Oilers are going to continue to put one man on Keyshawn Johnson, that's easy pickings on the outside, and Vinny Testaverde will take advantage of that.
Johnson has gone over 700 yards receiving for the season. And his 8th touchdown catch earlier this quarter. Testaverde, lots of time, and complete. Dedrick Ward, he was upset at himself that he couldn't stay in bounds to get some extra yardage. But the Jets at the 39-yard line of Tennessee.
Nice move by Dedrick Ward on the outside to get open, but here's the situation. They've gone to Dedrick Ward the entire afternoon, and he's wide open. That's a good pickup of 22 yards, but he's mad at himself because he couldn't stay in bounds. He's wide open. He's tippy-toeing the lines. He wants to stay in bounds, but he just can't.
First catch of the day for Ward. And the Jets have it with a 1st and 10 at the 39 of the Oilers. Grady, the motion man. Testaverde on the slant for Johnson. Knocked down at the 20-yard line. Robertson and Walker as Johnson split defenders.
If you're going to leave Keyshawn Johnson to the outside, you need the second help to get there in a hurry. And Denard Walker has him, but Keyshawn Johnson with a slam, but he just splits the seam, and he gets late help by Marcus Robinson, but it's too late. If you're going to leave Keyshawn in that situation, it's going to be a first down.
Tell you what else, Testaverde's making some big-time throws. From the 19, Johnson on the brink of going over 100 for the day. This is Martin, the Jets mixing it up. A flag comes down as Martin crossed the 15-yard line. Not a lot of penalties here today. This one will work against New York. Just their third of the day.
Pulling against the Jets, and it's a very cleanly played football, and both of these teams are very well coached and disciplined teams.
Bill Parcells coached against Jeff Fisher when Fisher was an assistant with Philadelphia.
68 offense, 10 yards, repeat first down.
Fisher coached under Buddy Ryan, and when we talked to Parcells about maybe not being familiar with this Oilers team, he said, hey, I'm familiar with this system.
He's seen Buddy Ryan enough times in the 80s, as I have with the Washington Redskins. And Dan Henning's also on the staff for the Jets. He's faced that defense also. So that 46 defense is no surprise to Bill Parcells. He's seen it 10,000 times.
So they'll back it up. Under a minute left in the third. Here's a pitch for Martin. He's got some blockers. Martin is dragged down as he was able to get some good yardage on first down. Eddie Robinson with a stop. Brought down at the 20, Jason Fabini with a block.
And Eddie Robinson's a name we've called the entire afternoon, and he's going sideline to sideline. That's his 8th tackle this afternoon. He's been in the backfield. He's been mirroring Curtis Martin. He goes wherever he goes. He's making penetration, putting pressure on the quarterback. He's played an outstanding game this afternoon.
And that will be the final play of the third. End of the third quarter here in Tennessee. 10-3, Jets lead it. We're back after a word from your local station for more. With a 2nd and 11 from the 20. Vinny Testaverde, third in the NFL in QB rating, came in leading the AFC. Randall Cunningham, top-rated quarterback in the National Football League. Testaverde straight back. Over the middle, Curtis Martin accelerating ahead inside the 5-yard line. Joe Bowden making the tackle low. But now the Jets inching closer and closer to the goal line.
Just a simple dump pass out of the backfield. Curtis Martin has to beat a linebacker one-on-one, and Joe Bowden, he does that, turns for the goalpost, and just gets ankle tackled right at the end.
Martin, 3 catches, 41 yards. It's a 1st and goal from the 2. 3 tight end look. Play action, Testaverde. Touchdown! Keith Byars. And the Jets taking advantage of situations that they did not take advantage of last week against the Colts. New York extends its lead.
And in the red area on the goal line, they don't have the presence to force the ball into. They just don't have that mentality on the run. So you go to your older veterans. You go to Keith Byars. He knows how to catch the football. He can win on the goal line. Here he wins. It's a post pattern. He wins. He gets in front of the defender. Sure-handed Keith Byars. He's going to come down with that ball. Talked to Keith earlier before the game. He said, hey, I had a couple runs last week. I'm looking forward to touching the ball even more today.
2nd touchdown of the season receiving for Keith Byars. Testaverde was just brilliant on the drive. New York 17-3 in front. Drive 5 of 5 throwing the football for 69 yards, culminating in this pass to Byars.
And between these two, there's 25 years of NFL experience, but the excitement and the fire is still there. Vinny's happy. Big play by his friend, Keith Byars, putting the ball in the end zone and increasing the lead for the New York Jets.
Kickoff from Hall. This one is short. Mike Archie, a returnable kick. Archie down to the 25-yard line. Flag down on the play. Leon Johnson making the tackle after the 15-yard return. And Tennessee gets caught. So the Oilers actually would have had pretty good field position for that.
50 of the receiving team. Half the distance to the goal. First down.
Compared to what they've been used to today, the 25-yard line would have been a nice change of pace for Jeff Fisher's team, but instead they will back it all the way out inside the 10-yard line.
And talking to Jeff Fisher yesterday, he said, hey, we're going to return one. We're going to hit this seam. We're going to get a big kickoff return, but thus far today they haven't been able to get past the 30-yard line.
What do they need to do offensively, Mark, that they have not done up to this point? What has to change?
Well, when they had success moving the football, Steve McNair ran out of the pocket. They had plays designed for him to run out of the pocket, run with the football, move the pocket. I think that's what they have to do because he puts too much pressure on the defense when he rolls out of the pocket.
They'll stay on the ground right now with Eddie George lunging forward. Jason Ferguson making the stop among some other tacklers in on the play. And George picks up 3-4 yards on first down, going over 1,000 yards earlier today and joining 4 other players to hit that distinction: Terrell Davis, Barry Sanders, Jamal Anderson, and Emmitt Smith. Davis has a shot at Eric Dickerson's record. 2nd and 6. Jets lead it 17-3. That one back set with George, looking for an opening, and nothing there for him because Dwayne Gordon closed the hole. Time now for an NFL Today report, and Jim Nantz.
Well, this might surprise you, Ian. It was 17-0 Denver. Now Donald Hollis, on his 31st birthday, is bringing back Oakland. He throws the touchdown pass to Jet right here, but Denver is driving, and the clock is running out on the 3rd quarter at Mile High. We'll head to the 4th. 17-14, Denver, back to you.
Broncos trying to remain undefeated, and the Oakland Raiders giving them a little run for their money. 3rd and short. George making the catch, spun down behind the marker. Mo Lewis, what a play.
Mo Lewis has had an outstanding year, was quiet last week against the Indianapolis Colts, but comes up with a big play in the open field, one-on-one with Eddie George as he's trying to get the first down. Mo Lewis just snags him and snatches him down on the field of play. Right here, Eddie George, he's got his shoulders turned, he's trying to make a move. Mo Lewis beats the block of Mark Stefanowski, the center, and makes the tackle with one arm.
6th tackle of the day for Lewis. And the Oilers send Craig Hentrick on the field to punt. Johnson waiting at his own 35. Line drive for Hentrick. Johnson fields at the 40. And he's brought down at the 47 by Dennis Stallings. 43-yard punt, 8-yard return. Mo Lewis keeping Eddie George behind the marker, and the Jets get the football back. A lick on Testaverde, but he was able to get it off in time to make the connection. Now coming up Tuesday on JAG. Imagine a stealth fighter going down in the Middle East. It's a pilot accused of espionage. How do you save them both? An all-new JAG, Tuesday on CBS. Last week, the Jets did not score in the second half against the Colts. So far, 14 points in the second half to take a 17-3 lead. And Vinny Testaverde has done the job. Martin looking for some blocking, spinning off. And brought down at the 36-yard line after a gain of 2 on first down.
You can bet Bill Parcells wants to massage the clock now. Take as much time off as he can. Work the numbers, move the chains, try to get more points, obviously, but here he wants to pound the line of scrimmage because he knows this offense of Steve McNair and the Tennessee Oilers, they have quick strike capability, and he wants to keep the ball out of their hands, and that's how you do it, is by running the ball with Curtis Martin.
Play clock winding down on a 2nd and 7 from the 35. Jets get the play off. Testaverde, a quick throw. Keyshawn Johnson, his 10th catch of the day, and that is a career high. Johnson has gone over the 100-yard mark. We were told he would be a big part of the game plan, and that's exactly what the Jets have done. They've used Johnson in a number of different areas.
And that's the 2nd consecutive week of over 100-yard reception for Keyshawn Johnson. That's outstanding. He wanted to be the go-to guy, and he is the go-to guy. And he said, hey, playmakers have to show up in this game on Sunday, and he showed up today.
That double threat the Jets have at receiver with Corbett and Johnson. Last week, both went over 100 yards. This week, it's Johnson with the 112-yard effort on 10 catches. Jets have called a timeout. with 9:07 to play in the fourth. They lead it 17-3. We're back after this. Eddie George and Steve McNair watching from the sidelines. And they have seen the Jets offense just come out and dominate the second half of action. Bill Parcells, quarterback, Vinny Testaverde, 8 straight completions for the Jets. And now New York with a 3rd and 3. The crowd sensing that this is an important play if the Oilers are going to even have an opportunity to come back. On the pitch, Martin cutting it back for the first down and more. Curtis Martin breaks free for the touchdown. A 31-yard run, the longest of the season for Martin. And pay dirt.
And not only that, that's the first run for Curtis Martin over 20 yards and over 300 carries dating back to last year. Fouls the blocking of Kyle Brady in motion. They run this toss sweep. They've been running it the entire evening. Curtis Martin picks his hole, cuts the ball down the line of scrimmage. There goes Brady in motion. There's the pitch. Plants right there, turns down, makes a cut right there, and he's off to the races. Great vision by Curtis Martin, just outruns the defense, but he got a fantastic job by his offensive line of blocking up front and creating a scene for Curtis Martin.
6th 100-yard game this season for Martin. And the Jets now turning it up a notch. 31-yard touchdown. New York 24, Tennessee 3.
The NFL on CBS is sponsored by Enterprise Rent-A-Car. Pick Enterprise, we'll pick you up. And by Staples, the office superstore.
New York adds to its lead, 24-3. Jets now in front, and Martin, did he ever need that? He talked about breaking out a long one yesterday with us, and it comes today, his longest run of the season. Mike Archie on the return off of the Hall kick, and Archie spilled out at the 30-yard line.
Watch Keyshawn Johnson right here. He'll block down. Joe Bob, the middle linebacker, will overrun the play, but Curtis Martin will make a great move to cut back on the play and run for the touchdown. The first person in the end zone to congratulate him is wide receiver Keyshawn Johnson. Here's the block by Johnson. Overrun right there, and the cut by Martin. He's in the end zone, but the hustle by Keyshawn Johnson, when you talk to him, he's proud of a lot of things he's doing, but one of the things he's most proud of is his blocking, how he's performed not only by catching the ball in traffic, but blocking for his running backs and other wide receivers.
Been an all-around outstanding day for Johnson, both receiving the football, over 100 yards, a touchdown, and the blocking that Mark just alluded to. McNair trying to lead his team back, and they're in a deep hole. Very little offensively. Mo Lewis knocking the ball away.
And I think the reason why quarterback Steve McNair is having a tough time getting the ball to his tight ends and H-back Jackie Harris and Frank Wycheck is the team speed of the linebackers for the New York Jets. They're able to cover those guys in underneath coverage one-on-one in the open field and do an outstanding job of not letting Steve McNair get the ball to him.
McNair, 10 of 20, throwing the football, just 98 yards. With a shotgun. Stepping forward. And engulfed Jason Ferguson. Second sack of the season for Ferguson.
And that's the two big tackles on the inside, getting penetration and relentlessly going after quarterback Steve McNair. Anthony Pleasant upfield, McNair scrambles. There he goes around the corner. You'll see Ernie Logan, but Jason Ferguson engulfs him also. They're going to have to share that sack. And I'll tell you what, we had Jason Ferguson in the meeting room yesterday. If it was a biscuit or a cookie, he wouldn't be sharing. But on this sack, I don't think he's going to share it either.
You say it now. He's a big man, bigger than you, my friend.
You bet.
On 3rd and 16. McNair avoids the rush, steps forward. Almost intercepted by Brown. Anthony Pleasant got in the face of McNair in the backfield. Brown nearly knocked the ball in the air to himself.
And that's what made this play work, allowing Corum Brown to recover on the play. Had help over the top on the play right at the end by Ray Mickens. But the presence in the pocket right here of Steve McNair of moving away from the rush and avoiding the rush and getting the ball downfield. James Ferrier's going to mirror him the entire afternoon. He was in the backfield along with defensive end Anthony Pleasant.
6th punt of the day for Hendrick. Leon Johnson fields at the 19. Nice cutback move by Johnson. And he gets out to the 28-yard line. Tackle made by Dennis Stallings. 56-yard punt, and the Jets in complete control.
Didn't get to the playoffs, and they just know inside that they're going to find a way to get there. They know they blew a chance last week to go up one on the Tennessee Oilers and some of the other people in the division, but they know how important this game is to win this game today.
Martin got off to the slow start. He's picked it up 121 yards on the ground and a touchdown. His 4th rushing score of the season. Curtis Martin getting across the 35, but not enough for the first down. Eddie Robinson with a tackle. 4th down, New York. And keep in mind, 60 minutes will be coming up after our coverage here this afternoon. Jets looking to improve to 7-4. And 3-3 on the road if they can hold on for the win. John Kidd will punt. Derek Mason will return. He's standing at his own 21. Approaching the 6-minute mark of the 4th quarter. Kidd. Mason catches cleanly at the 21, makes a move. And out of bounds at the 36-yard line. 43-yard punt, a 15-yard return, and a flag on the play. Ron Blum, the referee, will sort it out. Tennessee has just been completely deflated here in the second half of action.
They look like a different team compared to the first half. They've got no momentum going for them.
Well, the ball was in the air, holding 37 of the receiving team. Penalties enforced from where possession changed. 10 yards, first down.
Danon Sidney called for the hold. And again, the Oilers forced to back up. Field position has been a big part of it for Tennessee. But they have just been out of sync offensively, especially in the second half. They got something going in the second quarter, but the numbers don't lie. 35 yards in the second half of action. And we're talking about a team that, over the last 6 weeks, has been among the better teams offensively in the National Football League.
They've averaged over 172 yards rushing alone in the last 6 games.
Oilers had scored 20 or more points in every game they've played since October 11th. Not today. McNair, flag comes down. And he's twirled down at the 10-yard line. Chad Cascade. James Farrier also involved.
And that's in the area of holding, Ian. And defensive end Anthony Pleasant is just having his way with left tackle Scott Sanderson going inside, bull rushing him.
Face, 73 offense. Penalties declined. Second down.
And that's Sanderson, who you just mentioned, making his 2nd consecutive start for Brad Hopkins, who's out with a knee injury.
We talked to Jeff Fisher yesterday, and he said he's a little light in the tank. He needs to gain weight and get stronger, but Anthony Pleasant just came with a rip move on the inside. There's the right hand of Sanderson in the face mask area of Anthony Pleasant, and that's the infraction.
2nd and 10 for Tennessee. Straight back, McNair. Again, was forced to run a bit, but this time he was able to get it off to Jackie Harris. And a first down for the Oilers on the pass play. That was Jackie Harris's 300th NFL reception. So the 8th-year veteran, formerly with Green Bay and Tampa Bay, achieving a milestone here this afternoon. No huddle offense for Tennessee. And another catch for Harris. Mo Lewis in on the stop. Time now for an NFL Today report as we head to New York at Jim Nantz.
All right, Ian. Earlier today, Rod Smith threw a completion to John Elway. Now the quarterback returns the favor with a touchdown pass to Rod Smith. They missed on a 2-point try, but Denver's up 12 with 10 minutes to go. Back to you.
So it looks like the Denver Broncos will keep their perfect record intact.
They keep finding ways to win each week, and they just don't give up. They're very relentless in their pursuit of an undisputed season.
Over the middle to Frank Wycheck. Lost the football. Corwin Brown, right place, right time. It's been that kind of day for Tennessee.
And I talked about the speed of the linebackers early. That was Mo Lewis chasing down Wycheck, knocking the ball out, allowing Corum Brown to just catch it in midstream and return it back to the New York Jets. That's just all-out hustle for the linebackers, going down the field of play, making big plays. Right behind Wycheck, right there's the scoop move. LT originated that little scoop from the backside, taught the linebackers all throughout New York in the National Football League, but that's a smart play by linebacker Mo Lewis of coming behind him and knocking that ball out of him.
Fourth fumble of the day for Tennessee, but that's the first one they've lost. Mo Lewis was not much of a factor last week, the exact opposite here today. Gerald Soule now in the backfield for New York, and he'll get the call. Coming up tonight on CBS, Dr. Jack Kevorkian and Gatto Wade. They were just overmatched in the second half here today. Soule trying to push the pile ahead. Gerald Soule, who had fumbleitis a couple of weeks ago in the victory over Buffalo, getting another opportunity here today. And it looks like Curtis Martin might be done for the day. Soule will now go to the sideline. Martin, 27 carries, 123 yards and a touchdown, and Soule will actually stay in there as Leon Johnson checks in. Oilers held Jerome Bettis to 29 yards on 14 carries a week ago. They could not contain Curtis Martin this afternoon. Third and 4 from the 28. Soule in motion. And nothing there for Leon Johnson. The Oilers defensively able to fire in with Perry Phoenix. And a fourth down for New York. Well, as most of you already know, turkeys are brilliant animals. They're smart enough to, counting down to 2:21 left. As the Jets take a timeout to stop the clock. They face a fourth down, and they lead it 24-3. They'll improve to 7-4. And a good bounce back after the loss to Indianapolis. And just to follow up on the storyline that we started the broadcast with, the Jets losing to teams that they're supposed to beat, and then coming back and beating teams that you come in and say, well, maybe there's a question mark in this one, beating quality teams in the NFL.
You're absolutely right, and I think Coach Bill Parcells put a major emphasis on coming out the second half and not giving up, not being complacent. And hey, let's play better in the second half, score some points, let's put the stake in their heart, and that's how you win football games, and that's how you get mature and go to that next level. Last week, no points in the second half, and they just could not move the ball effectively in the second half. This week, it's an entirely different team in the second half, so I know that he was in there at halftime making some major adjustments.
Jets will go for it on fourth down. They are 5 of 10 on fourth down conversions this season. Soule and Johnson in the backfield. It will be a pitch for Johnson on a 4th and 7. Leon Johnson very close to the marker, but he'll be just a little bit short. And the Jets will turn it over on downs to Tennessee. Joe Bowden down following the play and slow to get up. The Oilers medical staff will come out and take a look at Bowden. Should mention here, while we have time, Weeb Ewbank, former head coach of the New York Jets, one of the all-time greats, a legendary coach, passed away earlier this week. Funeral services were held for him yesterday in his hometown of Oxford, Ohio, 91 years old. 20 years as a head coach in either the NFL or AFL, 11 with the Jets, and the only coach to win world championships in both the National Football League and the American Football League. The Jets were supposed to wear decals today on their helmets that said the word "we," but really a very strange story. They were sent to the Jets hotel, and somebody went to pick them up, but he wasn't from the Jets. He claimed he was from the Jets. He picked up the package, and he just walked out with them. So the Jets were never able to get the decals in time for this game. I'm sure they'll have them in time for next week's game against Carolina at the Meadowlands. Weeb Ewbank, inducted into the NFL Hall of Fame back in 1978. Died at the age of 91 earlier this week. Dave Craig is in at quarterback. The veteran replaces Steve McNair for the final 2 minutes and change. On the handoff, just nothing doing for Mike Archie. Chad Cascadden read it perfectly. And we hit the 2-minute warning. Jets have a sizable lead. 24-3. New York cruising in the fourth. Back with you in Nashville as Dave Craig was able to make the completion to Mike Archie. And the clock continues to roll with 1:45 and kicking left in the fourth. The Jets rise to the occasion here today. And the Tennessee Oilers came out flat in the second half. New York with a 24-3 lead. Craig firing over the middle, incomplete. Michael Roan, the intended receiver. And fourth down for Tennessee. 60 minutes coming up next, except on the West Coast. Hope you'll stay with us for that. Craig Hentrick will punt it away. 7th punt of the afternoon. And Leon Johnson waits at his own 27-yard line. Johnson steps forward at the 29. And not much there for Johnson as he moves ahead to the 33. 46-yard punt and a 4-yard return for Leon Johnson. Disappointing day for the double threat from Tennessee. Steve McNair and Eddie George. 137 yards passing for McNair, 72 yards on the ground for George. And that is just not going to cut it for Tennessee to be successful.
And offensively, they just couldn't get it in sync for the Tennessee Oilers. And I think that has a lot to do with not moving their quarterback, Steve McNair, out of the pocket, because that's when he's been most successful the last month of playing ball.
Clock ticking away as we hit the 1-minute mark. Just 50 seconds to play here in Nashville. And for those of you expecting to see 60 minutes, you're watching the NFL on CBS of the game between the Jets and the Tennessee Oilers. Ian Eagle along with Mark May. 24-3 is our score. With the Jets in front, 60 minutes will be seen in its entirety immediately following this game, except on the West Coast. And that will do it. The New York Jets bounce back following a deflating loss to the Colts last week. The Jets come through with a victory in Nashville over the Oilers. 24-3 the final. Vinny Testaverde, what a second half. Testaverde with a couple of touchdown passes. Curtis Martin with a 31-yard touchdown run, his longest scamper of the season. And the Jets just take control of this game in the second half with a 24-3 victory. So for Mark May, I'm Ian Eagle saying so long from Nashville. Final score, 24-3 tonight.